Today, we're going to be talking about how to be unapologetic about charging your full rate when you want to increase the amount of private pay clients that you want. And so there's no secret, sauce out there in how to attract private pay clients and how to ask for what you want. Basically, the model is pretty much the same. You need to have enough referrals coming in that you are able to convert some of those to private pay. And so the method or the idea is that if 10 people call into your practice and you are a private pay only practice, 20% of those will convert to private pay. Whereas if you're an insurance-based practice, 80% will convert because you accept their insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So the question becomes, how do you attract 10 people to your practice? That's really what it is. Now that you can work on. You can do things like market in affluent areas. Be very clear on your website who you work with and the type of work you do and why somebody might pay privately for what you do. Have a niche that's very defined and calls for private pay clients. Something I always say, couples counseling is very popular to be private pay because people understand that they probably won't be able to use their insurance, or that there are some things about using their insurance. They are going to find that a lot of couples counselors don't take insurance. And one of the reasons why is because a lot of couples counselors have very specialized training, and those trainings are costly to get certified, in Gottman or EFT. I mean, there's a lot of steps, supervision. There's a lot of things that go along this process. And so they want to be able to charge for their rates. So it's not about whether you're confident asking for it. It's about making sure you have enough people to be confident in asking. And that's why if you go to areas with not a lot of population, you're not going to see a Porsche dealership, right? You're just not going to see it. Where do you see Porsche dealerships? Think about that. You see them in places where there's a lot of population. And then you see them in places where the socioeconomic status is more affluent, right? So then that way they know that they're going to be able to sell enough Porsches. Sure, in some areas that have lower populations, they may be able to sell, 1 or 2 Porsches, but really they're going to do best in metropolitan areas with a lot of people that have a wide variety of interests. And it's the same for therapists. It's like, you have to have enough people calling you. And then you have to practice and you have to stand in your truth and you have to say, this is my rate. And if people ask why, then you can say, I'm a specialist. I have this training. I have a limited schedule. I could tell you what really helped for me is when I got busier. When I was not busy, I was like, oh, here we go. People are going to ask for a sliding scale and we give it to them because I want to fill my schedule. Once my schedule got pretty full, I realized I had to hold very strong boundaries. And I had to say, I only have Tuesday at 3:00 and it's, $150 for the session. And that was it. I didn't have to worry about anything else because that's what it was. There wasn't should I, don't I? They asked for a sliding scale. This is my one spot. This is the time I have available and this is how much I charge. Being very clear about that and practicing that. I'm going to give you another tip that was very helpful for me, but first I want to thank our sponsor, TherapyNotes. If you're looking to run a private pay practice or an insurance-based practice, if you're a solo practice or a group practice, TherapyNotes has the functions for you. They have a free telehealth option. You can run credit cards for a great fee there. You can run reports. You can write your notes. There's an online portal for clients. TherapyNotes is so great. And what makes them really stand out is their customer service. They're so great. You can pick up the phone, you can call them, you can get any of your questions answered, and they are very helpful. So thank you to our sponsor, TherapyNotes. One thing that was really helpful, I'll be honest, is having somebody else answer my phones. When I had to answer my phones, I get it. The same thing. I'm like, should I, don't I don't know. Let me slide. Let me see. I felt guilty. And then people tell me their sob stories and I'm like, oh, it's $150. I'm sorry. You have no money because you're going through a divorce and your credit cards are cut off, but it's $150. And then I felt guilty, right? And so by having somebody else answer my phones and explain what I do and explain who I am and explain my schedule and explain things, it really helped to legitimize my business because people weren't just talking to me. They were seeing that this was a structure. This was a setup. This was something that was a business. This just wasn't like a one-man show. Not that there's anything wrong with answering your phones, but I found for me that it was much easier to have somebody else answer the phone, somebody else book those intakes, and somebody else say, her fee is $150 and this is the fee. Like, I'm imagining if I called like, a dentist and they're like, I get the person answering the phones and they're like, it's, $2,000 for a crown. I'm like, if I get the dentist, I'm well, can you do it for less? You can do this, you can do that. Those things do happen. And so when we don't answer our phones, that can be very helpful. So that's just a tip for you to think about if you're looking to really hold your boundaries around your fees. I'm here most days answering your questions. I'll see you soon, everybody. Bye.